kind of a hidden gem, the Cazenove lathe. Nobody really knows what they are, and they're easily 3 times the machine that you would think it is. This is my first machine. It's rusty, it's ugly. I knew that when I bought it. It's absolutely the most accurate lathe I've run, which is not bad considering it's 40 years old. Right. Yeah, material is cheap insurance compared to being late on a delivery and losing a client. It's one of those things you need to have a proper engine lathe in a shop for making tooling, for making fixturing, for doing little repairs, stuff like that. But this has genuinely made me a lot of money.
We're here with Devin from Santa Lucia Manufacturing out in California. Thanks for having us in your shop, and yeah, would love to kind of get a very brief intro, kind of how you started in this industry and kind of what brought you to starting your own shop here.
I made the conscious effort to leave the welding industry and go into machining just for health reasons mostly. I felt like machining was probably a safer route to go long term, a lot better potential overall. But I really enjoy making things and building, and this was a really good route to go.
My understanding is you did that for a number of years. You worked and kind of worked your way up in a few shops, and
yeah, and
ultimately, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, took the leap to start your own business once you kind of grew out of your garage, right?
Yeah. I had some old machines in my garage and took on some side work that I could do, nights and evenings, and then eventually it got to the point where I didn't have time to go to work anymore.
Yeah. I think you were saying earlier your POs for your nighttime business started being more than your salary, and you're like, that's
at that point it was like, all right, it's just time to make the leap. It was a scary thing to do, but it definitely paid off in the long run.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Well, let's take a tour of your shop. I guess right in the front room here. I know this is one of your newer machines.
Yeah. Due to be installed next week. Here. I'm really excited for it. Hexagon CMM, the biggest machine I could fit, which is the smallest machine that they make. A lot of things crammed into a very small space here. So.
Yeah, I know one of your specialties in particular is kind of making very small, precise parts out of rather esoteric materials.
Yeah, some more exotic stuff. I like doing the work that nobody else wants to do. The exotic alloys, tight tolerances, difficult features, and finding ways that, to make it work.
Cool. Well, with that, let's kind of take a step here in your office. So walk us through kind of customer contacts you, kind of your flow, kind of what are you doing, how are you kind of thinking about quoting, how are you thinking about kind of bringing in work here?
It's not something that I've had to think about much. Okay,
well that's good.
My clients have found me. I've been really fortunate, just that I've got the reputation in the industry, in the area, that I knew the right people at the right time, they put me in the right place, and I've never really needed to look for work.
Yes, I know you're kind of have a pretty good relationship with a couple of your customers here, to where you're able to sort of help predict some of their demands and kind of work ahead and kind of work with them very closely. And I guess that's what's kept them coming back, right?
Yeah, exactly. I call it gambling, but yeah, effectively. When they need something quickly, yeah. I usually try to, and I have an idea of what they're going to need. I just make sure I have it ready for them. My buyers like that.
Yes. No, it's great to have people over deliver on lead times and the rest of it. But let's go look at your fun machines. All right, walk us through this thing.
So I've got a older machine. It's almost 20 years old now. This is the machine that I started with. It's actually the person I bought this machine from.
Yep.
This is the machine that he bought to start his company with. And he's starting in his garage with this machine. But yeah, he passed it along, and it was the machine I started with in my garage, and it served me really well.
It was between this and one of your other lathes, correct?
Yeah. So this is my first mill, first proper CNC mill. Real first machine was a little gang turn CNC lathe that I got out of the scrapyard for $500.
And then did you put the Centroid controller on it, or was this something that he had kind of special ordered? I know this is not what it normally comes with.
The Centroid was special ordered from the factory with the Centroid control. That was a great decision. Originally these came with FANUC controls, which I'm sure would have been fine, but I think the machine would have ended up in the dustbin a long time ago, just with a 20-year-old FANUC controlled machine. They also came with an umbrella tool changer, which, I think 10 tools. So this thing has 17 tools with the Centroid tool changer. And the thing about Centroid being an American company and being really popular in the DIY and part of the market, it makes it really easy to work on it, to repairs, to do. There's a lot of information out there.
I know previous projects of mine, we've tried to use these in different things, and they're pretty well documented as far as I could tell.
It's not the best control out there, but
sure.
It's exactly what I needed at that time. Spent a lot of time on Haas machines, spent a lot of time on other machines, but this is exactly what I needed for that time.
Yeah, and this even has a 4th axis, and you do a
Yeah.
lot of indexing, and you do a lot of that stuff as well, correct?
Yeah, can't beat it for the price, you know.
Yeah.
So.
If you don't mind me asking, how would you pay for this back in the day?
10,000.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
for
yeah. And I think
17
it was-
tools, 4th axis. Cool. Behind us here, this, you said you had one of these at a previous company you were at, correct? And then kind of found this one.
Yep, these lathes are junk. Definitely don't buy them. No, they're kind of a hidden gem, the Cazenove lathe. Nobody really knows what they are, and they're easily 3 times the machine that you would think it is. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal machine. Really easy to hold tight tolerances and insanely rigid for the size. Everything on it's just way overbuilt.
No, this is super. You said you've held what, 2/10 on this?
Yeah, comfortably holding 2/10
That's,
without a DRO or anything or gauges. The previous shop I worked in was a turbo machinery manufacturer.
Okay.
Tight tolerances was the norm. Everything was 1 thou concentricities, and plus 1 thou minus nothing on diameters. 12-inch, 14-inch diameters, and it was 1 part, 1 piece of metal, 1 chance to get it right. It took a long time to get used to running this machine, but once I did, it was so clear how much more effective this machine. I had this machine and a Moriseki back to back, and Moriseki is a great machine, but it's half of this. And thankfully, these are, since nobody knows about these, they're a quarter of the price. So I paid $3,000 for this.
That's pretty good.
And I thought at the time that I would never actually make money with the machine. It was nice to have. It's one of those things you need to have a proper engine lathe in a shop. It's just one of those things you just got to have it for making tooling, for making fixturing, for doing little repairs, stuff like that. But this has genuinely made me a lot of money. If you take a floor space, it's got to pay for its meal,
Yes.
So
cool. Well, let's keep going here. I think we're getting into some more lathes here. This is
older Japanese
was it
iron.
this one or the other one that was your first one?
This was my second machine.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, my second. It's a proper turret lathe, but 1985. So it's been a great little machine, though. It's incredible what Tsugami, the tolerances that this thing will hold, even at 40 years old.
Yeah.
Makes money. Makes a lot of money.
Yeah, you were saying this has a couple cool features like fold-away tailstock. You got
stuff
obviously
I've never
four
seen on another
pins,
machine. Like the fold-away tailstock. Like I imagine it'd be a nightmare to try to align it, but I've not crashed into it, so it hasn't been an issue.
That's good. Yep.
But yeah, having the fold-away tailstock, I'm able to spot drill and drill on the part on center when I'm doing bar-fed work, and then come in, support the work, and do my turning work, and threading, and then pull it away, part off the part, and I can do stuff that is honestly genuinely challenging to do, especially from bar. I try to do most of my work from bar if at all possible.
And this will do what, a 3-foot bar, roughly?
Say 2 foot.
2 foot. All right, 2 foot safer. Cool. Yeah, and then you were telling me kind of a cool story earlier. I guess at some point the positioning sensor for your turret went out, right?
The turret encoder failed. I may have had something to do with that.
As is, sometimes it is usually.
That does happen. And amazingly enough, Tsugami was able to source it. They had it in stock, but they wanted $3,000 for it, which I paid $3,500 for the machine. And it was a tough sell at the point in time. But using the tools in Fusion, I was able to design my own circuit board, and make my own turret encoder from scratch. And I had the schematics for the machine, which really helps. And I figured if I could do it in 30 hours or so, I could make $100 an hour doing it. Mm-hmm. And it took 40, but hey, that's still not bad.
Well, I guess it really is if you know how to take care of these things, you're just a little bit crafty.
This gave me the stepping stone. This gave me the ability and the stepping stone to buy modern equipment. But it's still a very valid machine, and when it comes to turning work, yes, there are speed gains to be had. But if you're just doing very simple turning, and even this is capable of some really complex stuff. I've done some really complex threads on it, complex parts that would be difficult to do on any of my other modern machines. So.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess just real quick, we can take a look at this corner. I guess this is sort of your
manual machine area,
tooling, that sort of thing.
Technically it's CNC, but
2-axis.
It's a 2-axis, and it's a manual mill.
Yeah.
To me, and a nice little hard-edge HLVH lathe, great for making collets and doing other small stuff, picking up threads and repairing threads is really awesome.
I guess walk us through a little bit. At some point you bought this building, right, for a previous shop owner.
Yeah.
And it came with some of these machines as well?
It did, yeah. No, it came with a decent amount of equipment. The previous machinist had been here for 20 years. He was ready to retire and just wanted to find someone to buy all the equipment.
Yeah, and you said originally he was looking to just auction or kind of sell the equipment.
Right.
But then you actually were like, hey, can I just get the equipment
well,
in your building as well,
I asked
right?
if I could, because I knew he was retiring. If I could lease the building, that'd be fantastic, But he didn't want to lease, he wanted to sell. And I said, well, what's the number? And I decided I could make it work.
Beats, a couple of tens of thousands in equipment moving fees as well.
Exactly, yes.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the back room. I know you have some fun stuff back here.
Yeah, we have the modern equipment back here. Fully automatic bandsaw is worth every bit of it's one of the piece of equipment that came with this shop.
Yeah.
And it's very, very nice. I can't believe how many shops don't have fully automatic bandsaws, and they'll buy everything blanked. And it's like, it does add up, the money, when you have stuff blanking. It does take up a lot of real estate, but it's worth it. It's worth having.
Yeah, I mean, you have it nicely positioned right in your door, so it's easy to get stuff in and out. And
exactly.
I guess while we're by your material rack here, you were kind of mentioning something interesting earlier, kind of a nice method for how you price material. I guess walk us through kind of your theory there. Sometimes those shops will buy exactly what they need. Sometimes they'll keep everything in stock, but you kind of have a different method there, right?
Yeah, material is cheap insurance.
Yep.
Rather than buying exactly what I need, I buy maybe double, right? Or at least 1.5 times. I want to make sure that I can get my parts to my client on time. Material can be expensive, but I'd rather buy the extra material, and really truthfully, an extra $100 or $200 or $1,000 is really cheap in the long run compared to being late on a delivery and losing a client. I usually end up running extra parts anyway, and if I've got the material, I'll run the extra parts and I'll keep the parts on shelf, and then my clients are really happy that, when they call up for something, we need this next week. Okay.
Right. I mean, maybe they ordered 50 and you got 10 on the shelf, you can be like, well, here's
10. Yeah.
I'll get the other ones to you quickly, and then obviously material lead times are rather unpredictable these days, so that I'm sure helps too.
It definitely helped, especially this last little bit where we've had a lot of material issues, with the tariffs and all the stuff at the beginning of the year. I had a lot of the stuff I needed in stock already.
Cool. Well, behind us is probably the physically largest machine in your shop, and I think probably also the most expensive.
Yes. Yeah.
Walk us through kind of what you have set up here. Obviously, we got a DVF 5000 full 5-axis.
With the pallet changer, 120 tools with the pallet changer. The pallet changer has a huge benefit that I never really considered before, was that I don't have to be at the machine when the part is complete. I've got a large window to where I've got setups ready to go. All I gotta do, when I have the time, I come over here and I can do the setup. I can be focused on what I'm doing, and I'm not stuck on the timeline of the machine. Yeah, pallet changer is absolute game changer.
Yeah, you were saying originally when you were talking to your rep, you were actually looking at what, 4th-axis machines? Or
yeah, a little 4-axis mini mill. I'm looking for something to replace the little Milseki that's getting older, right? It's getting tired. We're having small little issues. And yeah, I kind of snowballed into this guy, which I had to sell 2 other machines to bring this in, but this is doing the work of 4 machines.
And you said on average you're doing what, 16 plus hours a day of continuous runtime?
Yeah, 16 hours a day is what I'm shooting for. 8 hours of my time, 8 hours of its time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess with how you schedule things, I'm sure you kind of line it up so that the stuff, when you leave, it's at least running for what, 4 to
at least 4 hours. Yeah, I try to go 4 hours if at all possible. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's move on to, I think, even more lathes, correct?
Primarily a lathe shop. So yeah, we've got 5 CNC lathes in the shop. Again, old Japanese iron, barely super rigid. Very effective machine, not the latest and greatest, but for the price, I think I paid $3,000 for this. Again, it's made a lot more than that. I really enjoy getting some use out of these machines. And then yeah, fully automated bar-fed lathe with sub spindle and live tooling really opened up a lot of opportunities that I didn't have before. The focus that I'm really working on is more towards automation and more towards keeping the machine running and allowing for less operators. I want to do it as minimal staffing as possible. Having a bar feed and a parts catcher and sub spindle lets me, it takes a little bit more time to set up, but it's not that much more in the grand scheme of things. And really, I want to have everything be more automated.
Yeah.
So.
And then when you bought this machine too, I think you were saying that you bought a ton of live tooling with it as well. I guess how has that played out for you? You made good use of that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Almost every part has some feature that needs to go on a mill or needs some mill work, a tapped hole or anything like that. And being able to do that in one shot, generally off the bar without ever having to touch a mill.
And then the way you have this set up, I think the job you're running right now looks like you're having this do a lot of the early work and then you're actually distributing that to some of your older machines. So this is kind of feeding, what, 4 machines?
It's feeding 2 machines right now.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 machines. But yeah, no, I can keep 2 other spindles busy with second ops coming off of this machine. Normally you wouldn't have a second op on this machine, but this particular part and the way that it's the tolerances and everything, you need to have an operator run the second op. And also for the finish, because we can't have any dents or dings. And the parts catcher is really good in this, but it's not perfect.
So you got a bar feeder on this thing as well. Are you typically loading the whole thing up, or what are you doing with it?
That's the goal. It very rarely ever happens that way. Usually it's 1 or 2 bars. But yeah, right now we've got a good production job and we're stacking it up and letting it go.
Yeah,
so.
And then these are super cool. You were showing me this earlier. You're making your own spindle liners, right?
Right.
Walk us through kind of how this design came about.
Yeah, so traditionally spindle liners are pretty difficult to manufacture. Right? You've got a very long tube, you want a precision bore, you have to have one for every different diameter that you're holding on to. And it gets to be really expensive, right? Traditionally you drill through, but like you're not gonna have a machine that's big enough to drill it. You have to, a shop that has that, you have to go to a different shop, right? It hit me, what if I made it in small sections that I could print easily? I'm hoping to start a business selling these.
Well, you can do custom sizes too, right?
And
I mean,
custom
they don't
sizes,
sell
custom
spindle
shapes,
liners for
yeah.
everything.
Right.
But you can come in and, here's, I guess, a full stack of one, right?
Yeah.
Slightly older design, but that's...
At this point, when I need a liner, I print it. It prints over the weekend. I have it Monday morning. I don't have to wait.
Cool. And you're doing it for a couple machines now, or mostly you've just been doing it for
No, a couple,
GN
yeah.
stations?
All the machines now, everything that I'm running bars through.
And just PTG, obviously some tuning in of the settings, and just have it Monday morning.
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
the best.
So this is then your first lathe, correct?
This is my first machine. It's rusty, it's ugly. I knew that when I bought it. I bought it specifically, actually when I was still working at another shop, mostly so that I could learn a little bit more advanced programming and a little bit more challenging things that I didn't want to have to worry about crashing my boss's machine. Like for $500, I can buy this, throw it in the garage, make my mistakes here before I go messing up, machines that are actually doing production work. Then as I started running this machine and started doing little parts here and there, I discovered that it's particularly accurate for a lathe. It was custom ordered with glass scales on the x-axis. It's absolutely the most accurate lathe I've run, which is not bad considering it's 40 years old.
Yeah, and $500.
It's definitely not fast. I think it rapids at 80 inches a minute, maybe.
Yeah.
But on gang turn, if you can bring all the tools, nest them all together, it's not that bad. I've actually run 300 parts per hour on this machine.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess for guys who are starting out at home, it's probably a pretty good price and size to be wife approved too, right?
Yeah, you can still park the car alongside of it. What's challenging, I guess, is I have some experience with repairing machines and repairing stuff, right? And so when you get a machine like this, it's non-stop repairs. It's great if you can get into it, and you can get into it cheaply, but also you have to beware there's a gamble of it could be a boat anchor if you can't fix whatever's wrong with it. But Rock helps us out with that now, so.
Yes, yeah, the AI tools are quite good.
The AI tools are fantastic.
Obviously, you've grown a pretty impressive business here over the last 3 or 4 years.
Thank you.
But obviously, it kind of took a while to get there. If someone's looking to do the same thing as you, what's your,
fail cheap, fail easy.
All right.
Fail cheap, fail easy. If you can afford a $500 machine, you find a good deal on something like that. If you have $500 to throw out, do it, you know, a couple grand. The Okuma machine that I bought, you know, like I said, I paid $3 grand for it. It cost me $2 grand to move it into my shop, and then I couldn't run it on my power. I didn't have enough power to run it. It would cost me another $2 grand to get rid of it, because I'd have to hire a rigger. But I held on to it, and it was a boat anchor for 3 years until I moved into a proper shop, plugged into power, hoped that everything would still work, and then it did, you know. But that was money that I was able to let go for that time, right? But I'm a big fan of just try it in the most affordable way possible, and then try to grow from that.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, obviously you had your path. You started as a welder, learned a lot of there, saw the machining world, were super interested in it.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the good decisions you made there was that you just went to go work for someone that was willing to kind of let you learn as much as you wanted, right?
Yeah. So when I was welding, and I made the conscious decision, I talked with my wife about it, and I said, I want to change my careers. I want to change. I want to go to a different route. And I know that it's going to cost me a lot. I cut my wages in half. I went from $30 an hour to $15 an hour. But I'm still getting paid, and I'm getting paid to learn.
Right.
And being paid to learn is the best thing possible. I don't ever want to pay for my education if I don't have to, you know?
Sure.
So I was able to find a shop, and I interviewed a few shops before I just decided on which shop I wanted to go work for. Found a shop that was willing to train on programming, willing to train on setups and all of that, and was able to keep up with me on an accelerated learning path. And then every night I'd get off work, any questions or anything that I didn't quite understand, I'd go on YouTube, figure out not just the solution, find all of the solutions.
Yeah, I guess obviously you recently switched to Start Proto. Walk us through kind of the history of kind of systems you've used to manage the business, because that's, you know, yes, you got to be really good at making the parts, but you also got to be good at running.
We have
the
to
business
manage
as well.
it. Yeah, we have to run. And let's be honest, I'm a machinist. I'm not a business person. I'm not accountant. I'm a machinist. So dealing with the business has been one of my more challenging struggles. And originally I could manage everything just on Excel spreadsheet and just folders in Windows. Eventually I outgrew that. There's only so much that one person can keep in their head at a time. I've always tried to kind of follow the general feel of the industry. I saw a lot of the shops go to ProShop and for all of their ERP systems. And I'm looking for a solution that would work. And okay, well, if everyone's going with ProShop, that's what I'm gonna go with. I didn't realize how much work was involved with ProShop. I was trying to save work, but it ended up taking probably 3 or 4 times the amount of work than just doing everything manually.
Yeah, and you actually had hired an admin.
I did.
That you tried to explain things to. They didn't have, obviously, your knowledge of the parts.
Yeah.
And that didn't really work out for you either.
No. To be fair, they were also trying to learn ProShop at the same time. And
sure.
I had several months of training with ProShop. One of the guys that I was paying for him to learn ProShop, he left, probably because he didn't like ProShop. And then the admin person was trying to learn ProShop too. She was absolutely the fastest learner I've ever seen, but even still, it's just so big and unnecessarily big. I feel like it's designed to protect people's jobs instead of eliminate their jobs. I'm not trying to eliminate any jobs here, but like,
yeah, you have a certain head count. You don't want to necessarily need to grow it necessarily, right? So it's
right.
And then how did you find us? I think this is a really interesting path. I guess you were really frustrated one day, and you were.
I was really frustrated, and since I'd been running the business manually for so long,
yep.
I know what I need, and I figured, okay, I'm going to go on Grok, and I'm just going to start building out my own ERP system. What's the right tool to use for this? Am I going to use Visual Basic or what development tool, right?
Right.
And Grok actually suggested, well, have you looked at Start Proto? And I'm like, well, no, but I figured all the ERP systems are just too outdated and old, built back in the 90s, and everything looks like it. I started actually looking at Start Proto, and I realized that, oh, you guys are not 40 years old or 30 years old. It's a modern company, which can be scary too, but you're implementing AI from the ground up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things too. I mean, I think I was showing you some of the examples earlier, but it's, you know, let's say you run out of something in the shop, this insert, right?
Right.
Maybe it's in your system, maybe it's not. You go try to do that in, you know, any system, ProShop or the rest of them. That's going to take you a while.
Oh,
right?
It's if I knew what I was doing,
yeah,
100%, it probably would only take 15 minutes.
Yep.
But that's 15 minutes. It's still a lot of time, and that's if you know what you're doing.
Yep.
It's so deep that it's really difficult to do that, you know? Like, I have got to learn the machines. I have a brand new 5-axis machine that I'm learning how to program from the ground up. That's where my focus needs to be, is making money, not counting the money.
Yeah, and then in our system, I think we were showing you this earlier, you could just take a photo of this thing and say, go buy one.
That is brilliant.
And it will go, it'll figure out what it is. It'll go make a purchase order. I can't wait to give it a shot. It'll find your vendor. And that's just one of many examples. Obviously, you know, you could forward emails, you could do the rest of it. So, yeah, I mean, to your point though, right? You need to be running a business, you need to be manufacturing, right? It is a lot easier in our eyes to automate and to help you kind of, you know, drive efficiency in running your business. And the whole goal is just to free you up to actually, you know, make the cool parts, to take on the work, to do the prototypes, to build the relationships with the customer and turn that into production runs. So, you know, that's been our goal with the system all along. And obviously with
ProShop, I was sitting in front of the computer 2 to 3 hours a day. A lot of that probably has to do with that I'm not very good at it. I don't know, it's a large, steep learning curve, but I don't want to be good at it. I want to be good at manufacturing. I want to find ways to nest more parts onto the table, to automate as much as possible. I want to find ways to make it so that we can make these parts affordably and still make good money on them.
Hopefully this frees you up to do that, and obviously we look forward to a long and fruitful relationship, and maybe you'll be out of this building in 2 years and onto something much bigger. But
yeah, hopefully.
Cool. Anything else? Do you want to plug your websites? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, website's santaluciamfg.com, and you can email at info@santaluciamfg.com. We're always ready to take on new clients, and that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Devin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I never had these things. See you next time.